Dr. Evan Brooks never meant to cross that line. At 37, he was a respected oncologist at St. Anne's, measured, methodical, the kind of man who didn't flinch at the word terminal. Until Lily Harper. She was 26, stubborn smile, stage 4. From the very first appointment, something cracked open. It wasn't just another case, and the worst part? She knew it too. Their first meeting wasn't cinematic, just a sterile exam room, a flickering monitor, and her beating silence. Evan spoke gently, clinically. Lily didn't blink. "So, how long do I have before I lose my hair?" she asked, smirking. That's when Emma, the nurse, entered, mid-30s, sharp-eyed, protective. She'd seen it before, that look. But what no one said out loud was already stretching the room thin. Lily didn't talk much during chemo, but Evan noticed everything. The way she clenched her jaw when the IV needle slid in. How she carried a beat-up copy of The Little Prince and never finished the last chapter. And then there was the playlist, always Coldplay, always low volume. Always Fix You saved for last. She never said it, but it became their thing. He'd walk in for her checkups just as the opening chords began. "Trying to time it?" she teased once. He smiled, didn't answer. But yes, he was. Emma watched. The rhythm between them grow. No rules broken, not yet, but lines blurred like smudged ink. Lily asked for Evan during fevers. Evan found reasons to check in personally. Just routine monitoring, he'd claim. One rainy Tuesday, after a rough round, Lily left a note on the exam table. "I think you're more than just my doctor. But I'm not sure if that's fair." He didn't respond, not with words. But at her next appointment he brought tea, no hospital cups, just a real mug with lemon and honey. Neither of them said what was happening. But the silence between them, it was starting to feel dangerously loud. Evan had rules, unspoken ones, lines he never crossed, not even close. But Lily? She wasn't just a patient anymore. She'd become a fixture in his mind, echoing in his thoughts during surgeries, during dinner, during those 2 quiet hours between midnight and regret. He started pulling her chart more often than needed. Not to change anything, just to see her name. Emma confronted him first. "You're playing with fire, Evan," she said, arms crossed, voice low. "She's young, dying. You're the one who's supposed to stay grounded." "I am grounded," he shot back. But his voice betrayed him. And Lily? She felt it too. Every time their eyes met, something flickered. Soft, sharp, inevitable. She'd ask questions that had nothing to do with medicine. "What did you want to be before you became a doctor? Did you ever have someone who really saw you? Do you believe in timing?" Evan deflected, tried to anchor himself in professionalism, but the more he pushed her away, the closer she seemed to drift. Because Lily wasn't naive. She just didn't have time to pretend. Not anymore. And then came the request. "I want to go to a concert," she said one afternoon, her voice barely above a whisper. "Coldplay, they're playing in Boston next month. Can I even do that?" Evan hesitated. It wasn't just a medical risk, it was a moral one. She was fragile. She needed monitoring, she needed rest, but she also needed something more, something real. He told her no, told her it was unsafe, impractical, irresponsible. She nodded, didn't argue. But something in her eyes went dim, like he'd turned off the last light in a long hallway. That night, he couldn't sleep. Not from guilt, but from the realization that this was the moment, the one where he either became the man he swore he wouldn't be, or the one she desperately needed, even if just for one last night that felt like life. For 2 weeks, Lily didn't come to the hospital. No calls, no appointments. Her name vanished from the schedule like she'd never existed. Evan tried not to notice. Failed. He reread her chart, pretending it was routine. Walked past the infusion room, expecting to catch a glimpse of her battered sneakers. Emma didn't ask, but her eyes did. He had no answers. Then came the envelope. No return address, just his name, handwritten. Inside, a ticket, Coldplay, Boston. 1 seat. And a note. "You said no, I went anyway. But I left you a chance to change your mind." He stared at it for hours, pulse humming louder than logic. Every line he drew was now a blur. He could report it, shred it, pretend it never came. But the truth? He missed her. Not just her presence, but the way she made life feel slightly out of control. So when the concert night came, he didn't plan it, didn't pack, just drove, because silence has a way of sounding like a scream when it comes from the one person who made you forget how lonely you were. He found her in the crowd before the show even started, not in the front, not close to the stage, just off to the side, sitting on a blanket, hoodie pulled over her head, eyes closed, like she was saving energy for something that mattered. And maybe she was. When she saw him, she didn't smile right away, just looked. Then, you came. You invited me. They didn't talk much. They didn't need to. The opening chords of Fix You started, and she leaned her head on his shoulder. No one said this was love. No one had to. But as the song built, she whispered something. I stopped treatment. Evan froze. You what? I wanted this moment more than months in a hospital bed. He didn't speak. Couldn't. The crowd sang louder. The lights burst. And right there, beneath a sky of gold and violet, she gave him the one thing he wasn't prepared for, a goodbye disguised as a perfect night. They sat in his car after the concert, parked under a flickering street lamp, neither wanting to be the first to say, this is over. But the weight of the night hung between them like smoke, beautiful, blinding, and impossible to hold. Evan broke first. You're giving up. No, Lily said soft. I'm choosing. Choosing what? Time. On my terms. He wanted to argue, wanted to quote studies, percentages, hope wrapped in clinical jargon. But he wasn't her doctor anymore, and truthfully, maybe he never really had been. Not in the way that mattered. I didn't think I mattered to you, she said suddenly. Not really, I thought I was just another sad story you were trying to fix. He turned to her, eyes burning. You were never something to fix. Silence. You made me remember that I'm still alive, he added. Not just existing. Not just clocking in and checking vitals. Living. Lily reached into her coat and pulled out a small Polaroid. The two of them, blurry and off-center, snapped by some stranger at the concert. She handed it to him. I didn't think I'd ever feel this again, she whispered. Wanted. Seen. Real. He didn't kiss her, didn't say anything romantic or reckless. He just held the photo and her hand, and the moment, because he finally understood. Sometimes, the purest kind of love is the one you never try to keep. After, Lily stopped showing up at the hospital. Her absence wasn't loud, but it lingered. The infusion chair near the window remained empty, though it was always the first to be assigned. Emma noticed. So did the receptionist, who still paused when, saying her name aloud, Evan never confirmed anything, never told anyone she was gone. But he started a quiet ritual. Every Friday before rounds he'd play Fix You in his office. Low volume. Always just once. Eventually the nurses followed suit. Music in the chemo room became a thing. Patients. I chose songs. Stories got shared. The silence cracked. No one mentioned Lily directly, but her presence became a kind of myth, the girl who reminded the hospital what it meant to feel. And Evan. He stopped checking boxes. He started asking real questions, human ones, the kind Lily would have asked. The space didn't change because of policy. It changed because someone left and left something behind. The letter arrived a month later, handwritten, no envelope. Dear Evan, you weren't supposed to matter this much, but you did. Thank you for seeing me past the diagnosis, for showing up. Don't stay safe, stay alive. And when Fix You plays, smile for me, Lily. He read it once, then again. Then he didn't need to read it anymore, because some messages aren't meant to be reread, they're meant to be remembered. And now, we land. Not with answers, but with something quieter, a kind of peace wrapped in ache. It's strange how someone can leave and still rearrange the furniture in your soul. Evan never said her name out loud after the letter, not to colleagues, not even to Emma. But Lily lived in the pauses between his sentences, in the quiet cups of tea he started offering patients, in the way he began to listen instead of just diagnose. He no longer feared the impossible cases. He leaned into them, sat longer, asked about music, about books, about what people missed most when they got sick. One night, months later, he walked past a street performer playing Fix You, and for the first time it didn't make his chest tighten. It made him smile. Not because the pain was gone, but because the love stayed. Somewhere out there, under that same sky she once stared at from a concert crowd, she had made a choice. Not to surrender, but to live on her terms. And maybe, just maybe, that's what she gave him too. Permission to feel, to break, to rebuild without erasing, to remember without regret. So every now and then, Evan drives out past the city lights, finds a quiet place, and plays that song again. Not to fix her, not to fix himself, just to feel everything exactly as it was.
The end.